I was in so much physical pain while I was at work. It all started last night that I just needed to lay in bed, rest, and now it got too dark and I don't want to use my blinding ring light. At least I'm getting around to this. We have stress less, kind of long. Write a list of the neglected tasks that have been weighing on your mind and commit to completing them all in one day. This is one of the biggest frustrations I have been experiencing as an adult. I struggle with this since way back in the day. It's not necessarily a lack of focus, it's not a lack of desire. It's some of these pending tasks require details that I don't exactly have accessible. And to give an example of that, it would be something like my car is up to date with everything that it needs, but there are certain things about it that I know I need to address, but I don't because of what it means for me to do that. Say, I cannot afford to be without my car for a certain day or something like that. There are other things that I feel like are unresolved here at home, and I have already gone over that before, which has to do with how I feel stressed out over my things, but I know that my things have been addressed. My room, for instance, it's been a mess for like 12 years now. But when I think about it, I'm like, well, it's because I don't have furniture to really organize it. And I don't want to buy furniture to organize it when the mess is supposed to be temporary. It just takes a long time for it to stop looking like a mess because it all depends on how quickly things get out of here as I sell them. I don't have control over when something is going to sell. I do have control though about listing things. That's something that I need to get better with because I've been a little slow with that because I like to do such a good job at it that one listing can take me 10 minutes sometimes, and that's not very practical. I like to at least every week add 1 to 3 out of however many things I have that I cannot even guesstimate because some things I haven't even looked through. Then there are also some other things are things that I absolutely can't do anything about. For instance, I don't have money to get indebted with medical debt. So the most pressing things I have in my mind have to do with how I don't feel well and all the pain that I feel and how I know that I'm long overdue to be checked out, but I don't have a way of doing that. In a way that doesn't mean that, hey, it's gonna cost me a lot and set me back. And like I've said before, I would rather have a short lifespan than have a long lifespan, but I'm scrambling, aging myself, trying to keep things going and getting by with very little and with the weight of debt. I just was not born to be stressing out like that. And even if it's a childish, possibly immature way to look at it, I really don't have big plans with my life. I don't feel like I have anything that's like, oh my God, I gotta achieve this and feel like I'm living a whole life. I mean, we're already living longer than people used to centuries ago. That on its own is a privilege. I don't fear the end of it all. And I also like to remember that I'm just simply a living being. I'm an animal just like any other animal. The only thing that made me get ahead and makes me stand out as different is this and the fact that we get organized training to where we can communicate better, therefore achieve things. But outside of that, I look at us as a major parasite in the planet, and I'm not going to get tired of saying that. But outside of that, I guess with people, there are some relationships that sometimes I wish that I could have better. That's one of the things on my list too, like reach out to this person and this other person. But sometimes I think about it and I'm like, well, what good is that going to do me? If it's not going to add to my life, and again, the action has to come from me, like always, then it lets me know that maybe I need to consider letting go of that pending yearning for that connection because it's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything for me. Like it's clearly a one-way street. So I think I'm going to cross off those. Ultimately, the other things I have in my list are more recreational. And the things that aren't recreational were basic things that I need to buy. For instance, I want to have a jumper cable again in my car. Do you guys remember when I had that detergent spill disaster like 2-3 years ago? Well, my jumper cable was contaminated by the detergent and I never replaced it. That's something that eventually I need to make sure I get. So yeah, you guys, maybe in the future, if I have my agenda looking a little extensive, I may feature it and talk to you guys about what it is that is in my list and what are the items that have been in my list for years now. Well, there you guys have it. That's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you do with this one, because I know that for me, it's a little bit of a difficult one. And sometimes I impose psychological barriers to just protect myself from unnecessary frustration. And that's why the things that I can afford to continue to postpone, I will continue to postpone. And anything that is truly necessary for the continuation of my day, bills and stuff, those are never going to be neglected. But anything else, anything that's due for me, that I owe for myself, those are probably the ones I shouldn't delay, but those are the ones that, again, I can afford to delay, so I'm just going to. Okay, that's it. Bye.